Every morning after Fajr, you and I are given a test, not an exam with paper and pen, but a silent test from Allah. Do we rush back to the comfort of sleep, or do we embrace the blessing hidden in the early hours? The Prophet prayed for Barakah in our mornings, yet most of us are unaware of the treasure we are letting slip away. This is not just about sleep, it's about discipline, priorities and faith. In today's reminder, we will uncover the morning test after Fajr and how passing it could completely transform your rizq, your productivity and your connection with Allah. One of the greatest tests a believer faces comes immediately after the Fajr prayer. Should I go back to sleep, or should I discipline myself to remain awake and make the most of the early hours? This moment may seem small, but in reality it reflects the strength of one's faith, priorities and inner resolve. The time between Fajr and sunrise is not like any other. It is a time blessed by Allah, a time the Prophet himself made dua for. Oh Allah, bless my anama in its mornings. Sunan Ibn Menoja. This shows us that our mornings are meant to be filled with barakah energy, purposeful action, not wasted in sleep. Yet the natural pull of the body often inclines toward rest, especially when one is tired or has stayed up late. Here, the believer is tested. Will he give in to comfort or rise with discipline? Discipline is the ability to control the desire for immediate relief in exchange for a greater benefit later. After Fajr, the temptation is strong to close the eyes and slip back into the warmth of sleep. But those who fight this temptation and remain awake gain immense rewards. They use the time for Dhikr, Qur'an, or even planning their day. By doing so, they train their souls to prefer what is pleasing to Allah over what feels pleasing to the body. This test is deeper than just sleep. It is about how we manage ourselves when no one is watching. When a person resists the urge to sleep and instead remembers Allah, it builds a character of resilience. They learn that true success comes not from giving into fleeting desires, but from maintaining discipline in the pursuit of Allah's pleasure. This habit, if nurtured, spills over into every other aspect of life, how one works, studies, interacts and makes decisions. On the other hand, falling back into sleep after Fajr without need often leads to missed opportunities. Many complain of laziness, lack of focus and wasted days. But the truth is that Allah has placed the secret of productivity in the early morning. Those who neglect this time often miss the blessings that could have transformed their lives. The companions of the Prophet understood this. Many of them would remain in the masjid after Fajr, engaging in remembrance until sunrise, then proceed to their daily work. They valued the mornings as a sacred window of strength, both spiritually and materially. This practice highlights that our struggle after Fajr is not just about sleep, but about proving to ourselves and to Allah that we value His gift of time. In short, the struggle between sleep and discipline after Fajr is one of the clearest indicators of a believer's priorities. Those who win this battle taste the sweetness of barakah, productivity, and closeness to Allah. Those who lose it may find themselves drifting through their days with heaviness and regret. Every morning after Fajr is a new chance, a chance to show Allah that you choose discipline over comfort and His remembrance over heedlessness. One of the most overlooked secrets of success, both in this world and the next, lies in the early hours of the morning. After the Fajr prayer, Allah has placed an immense blessing, barakah, for those who stay awake and use that time wisely. Barakah is not just material wealth, it is a divine increase in goodness, productivity, energy, spiritual peace that cannot be measured in numbers. When a believer chooses to remain awake after Fajr, they align themselves with a Sunnah that carries both spiritual and worldly benefits. The Prophet made a special dua for his ummah. Oh Allah, bless my ummah in its mornings. The Sunan Ibn Menoja. This means that barakah is literally embedded in the early hours of the day. The companions understood this well. Many of them would begin their work, trade or learning after Fajr, ensuring they tapped into this divine blessing. For them, the morning was a time of energy, clarity, focus, a sharp contrast to the heaviness and sluggishness that comes from oversleeping. When one remains awake after Fajr, the entire day feels lighter and more productive. Tasks that usually take hours are completed quickly, ideas flow more easily, and the mind feels sharper. This is barakah, where little effort brings great results and limited time feels expanded. It is not something that can be gained through wealth, power, or even hard work alone. Rather, it is a gift from Allah to those who respect the times He has blessed. From a spiritual perspective, staying awake after Fajr also creates space for Qur'an recitation, Dhikr and dua. These acts of worship performed in the blessed morning hours carry greater weight and nourish the soul. The Prophet and his companions often engaged in remembrance until sunrise, then prayed 2 rakat of duha, which carried immense rewards. This shows us that mornings are not just about worldly barakah, but also about building a deep connection with Allah. Practically, Many successful people, Muslim and non-Muslim alike, testify that waking up early and working in the mornings is the foundation of discipline and achievement. For Muslims, this is not a self-help discovery. It is a wisdom that was already revealed through Islam. The discipline of Fajr, followed by purposeful use of the morning hours, becomes a lifestyle of Barakah. On the other hand, those who sleep after Fajr often miss this blessing. Their days may feel rushed, their energy drained, and their productivity low. Even if they put in effort, the results may not match. This is the absence of Barakah, where time slips away, money disappears without benefit, and life feels heavy despite material comfort. In truth, staying awake after Fajr is not just a habit. It is a test of how much we value the dua of the Prophet and the gifts Allah has placed in the early hours. Every morning, we are given a choice to sleep away the Barakah or to rise and embrace it. Those who choose the latter find that Allah opens doors of Rizq, energy, and peace that others spend their whole lives chasing. The morning hours after Fajr prayer hold a special place in Islam. It is a time filled with blessings, tranquility, and divine mercy. When a believer uses this time for Dhikr, remembrance of Allah, recitation of the Qur'an, and sincere dua supplication, their heart is strengthened, their faith deepens, and they experience a spiritual growth that transforms their entire day. These acts of worship are not just rituals, they are the keys to inner peace, closeness to Allah, and long-lasting barakah. The Prophet often sat in the mosque after Fajr, engaged in remembrance until sunrise. This teaches us that the morning is a sacred window for connection with Allah. Dhikr at this time is especially powerful because the mind is fresh, the heart is calm, and the world is quiet. Saying phrases like Subhanallah's glory be to Allah, Alhamdulillah's all praise is due to Allah, and Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest, fills the soul with light and wipes away anxieties. Each word of remembrance is like planting a seed of faith that grows stronger throughout the day. The recitation of Qur'an after Fajr carries immense blessings. Allah says in the Qur'an, establish prayer at the decline of the sun until the darkness of the night and the Qur'an of dawn. Indeed, the recitation of the Qur'an at dawn is ever witnessed. So Surah Al-Isra 1778. This means that the angels themselves bear witness to the Qur'an recited at this time. Beginning the day with the words of Allah clears the heart of distractions, increases wisdom, and strengthens conviction. For a believer, nothing provides more clarity and comfort than starting the morning by listening to the voice of revelation. Dua after Fajr is also deeply impactful. It is a moment when hearts are soft, distractions are minimal, and sincerity flows naturally. Supplicating in these blessed hours brings a higher chance of acceptance, as Allah has promised to answer the calls of those who seek Him sincerely. Asking Allah for guidance, rizq, forgiveness, and strength at the start of the day sets a powerful tone for everything that follows. It transforms one's mindset from worry to reliance, from fear to hope, and from weakness to strength. Spiritually, the combination of Dhikr, Qur'an, dua after Fajr creates a shield around the believer. It purifies the heart from sins, builds patience, and increases awareness of Allah in daily activities. It turns ordinary routines, work, study, or family responsibilities into acts of worship because the heart is already connected to its Creator. On a deeper level, this routine nurtures the soul to resist laziness, temptations, and despair. A person who begins their day remembering Allah feels less burdened by the world because their focus shifts from material struggles to divine assistance. The Prophet taught us that true strength comes from spiritual resilience, and mornings are the best time to build that resilience. In essence, the hours after Fajr are a spiritual training ground. Through Dhikr, Qur'an, and dua, a believer's heart grows firm, their faith deepens, and their life fills with barakah. This is why the righteous before us valued the morning so highly. They knew that the secret to strength, peace, and success lies not in rushing back to sleep, but in turning to Allah when the world is just beginning to awaken. Life is a constant test of choices, and nowhere is this more visible than in the early hours of the morning. After Fajr, when the soul is calm and the world is still, every believer is presented with a question: what are your true priorities? Do you value the fleeting comfort of sleep or the lasting barakah and closeness to Allah that comes with staying awake in worship, reflection, or purposeful activity? The way we respond reveals not just a habit, but the state of our hearts and the direction of our lives. The Qur'an reminds us, but you prefer the worldly life, while the hereafter is better and more enduring. So Surah Al-87, fixing sin. These verses strike at the core of our priorities. Sleep, though necessary, can become a symbol of choosing temporary ease over eternal reward. Rising to remember Allah, recite His words, simply prepare for a day of service and productivity, reflects a soul that values what truly matters. The early hours are a mirror showing whether we place Allah first or whether comfort comes before commitment. The Prophet demonstrated this balance beautifully. He would never neglect rest, but he also emphasized the blessing of the morning. His supplication, "O Allah, bless my ummah in its mornings," a Sunnah on Ibn Majah, was a call for us to recognize that our success and rizq are tied to how we use this precious time. For the Sahaba, priorities were clear. The morning was for worship, for work, and for seeking both spiritual and worldly success with the right intention. In contrast, when mornings are wasted in sleep after Fajr, it often reflects a lack of discipline in priorities. Many people complain of time slipping away, of never feeling productive, of their rizq feeling tight and their hearts heavy. Yet the solution lies in aligning priorities with what Allah has blessed. By staying awake and putting effort into worship, learning, or even simple tasks like organizing one's day, a believer sets the foundation for both dunya and akhirah success. This measure of priorities also extends beyond sleep. It applies to how we spend our wealth, our time, and our energy. Do we prioritize worship over entertainment? Do we prioritize family and obligations over distractions? Do we prioritize preparing for the akhirah over chasing fleeting gains? The early morning is just one example, but it symbolizes the broader truth. Every action reveals what our hearts value most. Spiritually, giving preference to Allah's plan and guidance over our own whim strengthens the soul. It teaches discipline, resilience, and tawakkul's trust in Allah. Practically, prioritizing mornings for productivity leads to sharper focus, greater energy, and barakah in daily tasks. Together, these benefits create a life filled with meaning and balance. Ultimately, mornings are a divine gift and a test. Choosing to honor them is a way of declaring, "My priorities are with Allah." When a believer measures life through this lens, their decisions begin to align with what lasts, not what fades. And in that alignment lies the true secret of barakah, peace, and success.